Welcome to the Jeff Banks podcast. Today I'm hosting Marcus Hryhorskyj, and we're joined by Twitter royalty and long-suffering QPR fan Peter Finch. How are you, Peter?
I'm fine. I like the fact you called me Twitter royalty.
Yeah, well, you seem to be doing quite well on the social media front right now. You're getting a right good following, but obviously it's deserved with all these winners you've been banging in. You got was it a double yesterday or?
A day before. We had no winners yesterday, but we had a double. And I've learned over the years to if you're going to make successful out of betting, you've got to do singles. Forget all about these Yankees and accumulators.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I've been quite impressed with it. I know a lot of the traders, not just in my office, but I imagine a lot of traders in the UK are keeping an eye on what you're doing because you are starting to move markets now, aren't you?
Certainly the bigger price funds, it's interesting to see. I think when you go for a good run and you've got the mass of people that follow and then they sort of get onto it. I think when your luck's not so good, they sort of avoid it a little bit, but they think if people think you're in a winning streak, they will jump on it. And we've had a few nice touches over the last six to 8 weeks, 40-1 at bumper and 20-1 on the flat. So yeah, we've done well.
Yeah, I've noticed that a few of those bumpers have shorted. I have to laugh. I do laugh when you put up the gifts after, just with the funny ones jumping in pools and stuff and landing.
Yeah,
that's hilarious,
absolutely, yeah.
So what are you actually looking to get out of the Twitter? I mean, what are you trying
I enjoy doing it. I mean, I study up a lot anyway. So I mean, I get the bets on first. So if there's any movement, it comes after I've done it. So I don't feel that at the moment. I'm not saying at the moment. As long as I'm working, I don't feel I have to charge. A lot of people do charge for it, and that's their prerogative. Yeah. But from my point of view, I mean, I work for At the Races now. I've worked for TV and Racing UK, so I enjoy it. It's a bit of a passion. So once I've decided what I'm going to back, I place the bet and then put it up, and then people can follow or not follow. You get one or two trolls as you do on the social media. I'm sure Jeff does get quite a lot of that, and no doubt you do too. So you've just got to take that and knock on the chin, you know.
Yeah, it's quite funny when you do click on the notifications on Jeff's Twitter. There is periodically trolls, but yeah, honestly, it's just fun and games really. But see, have you got any other new ventures in the pipeline or anything like that? Or?
No. I mean, obviously, Bet Racing's come and gone, and you were part of that team, and it's good to see people that have done well from that. Nothing really. I mean, at the moment, I'm contracted to ATR till the end of the year. Okay. That obviously changed to Sky Racing in January. We'll see what happens then. If the move did happen, it would be better for me because it'd be more local. At the moment, I'm travelling to Milton Keynes, but as long as I've got a job in racing, I'm happy. Yeah,
you're still in Chelsea at the moment.
Yeah. So a bit of admission, but when Sky Racing moves to Osterley, that won't be too far away.
Okay, well that's good. Obviously, I'm glad you're doing well because, as you say, it's quite thinking about it. It used to be you that was interviewing me. It's funny how things have changed.
Absolutely, yeah. Now you've got the seniority part.
I know. But now listen, I'm enjoying it as well. And I'm obviously moved down here now. Things are working out for me. But listen, let's jump on to Epsom. Let's have a wee look, see if we can get a couple of winners here. We'll jump on to the Coronation Cup firstly. Can you see anything beating Cracksman? Do you think it's?
I can't. I mean, this race has been done by some great horses, as we know. So Nicholas Abbey postponed Highland Mill last year. Cracksman, I cannot see, even if it monsoons later on, I don't think it'll make a difference. Whereas what we're going to chat about, some others I think it might do. Cracksman is probably about 10, 15 pounds ahead. Well, certainly 10 ahead of Idaho, probably 14, 15 ahead of Hawkville. Yeah. Can't see any different winner. 1 to 3, it's not something I will be going knees deep in. But a lot of people will put them in the accumulators in Yankees and things like that. I can't see it getting beat. I know some people might be keen on forecasts. I think Idaho might be the one to chase it home out. Yeah, only on the basis that Hawkville last year, I mean, Frontiersman got quite close to Hawkville last year, and you wouldn't say Frontiersman was the sort of top grade. He's won some good races. So I think Idaho will be the danger.
It's certainly not the strongest of fears. I think it could be a case of Cracksman comes at the stalls, he wins. Obviously, it's not open to a lot of people having a lot of singles, but we actually have had quite a lot of action in the office, just multiples with Saxon Warrior, which we'll go on to later. So obviously, out of the two, obviously I think it's more plausible that we get Saxon Warrior beat because we don't think we've got much running for us in this race.
Don't think going to get Cracksman beat, unfortunately, and everyone will be on the big double, I would imagine.
I know, but the thing is, I do think if Cracksman, something does happen, Saxon Warrior wouldn't surprise me if he comes right in. But then again, we'll go past that race because it's not obviously the most exciting of races. So it looks a one-horse race, doesn't it? So, I mean, if you jump onto the 4:30, the fillies and Epsom Oaks, and now this race is completely opposite. I mean, you've got a blanket over them. Couldn't you? Anything could win this. And obviously, if you look at the stats, O'Brien's won it with the outsiders twice in the last 5-6 years, hasn't he? So.
Yeah, and Godolphin. If you look at the favourite, for example, Wild Illusion and Godolphin haven't had a. I mean, I think there'll be it will provide sort of the full victory for the Godolphin, but they haven't had a winner in it since 2002, so that goes back quite a bit. Obviously, with Aidan O'Brien's dominance, I'm not a Wild Illusion man. I know it won on the soft in Chantilly.
Yeah.
I don't think actually the trainer is in that great a form. And I know that sounds strange to say for someone like Charlie Appleby, but if you go back at the start of the season when you had the sort of Newmarket and Newmarket trials, he was winning a lot of races.
He was banging them in, wasn't he?
He was, and over the, I mean, obviously this is a classic, so you would imagine Wild Illusion is right up for it. But I mean, he's had 3 winners, I think, in the last 14 days, and they've all been shorties, and he's had a lot of horses beat. So
yeah, so basically the steering jobs have been going in, and the other ones have been getting beat, really. But actually, what do you think of the beginnings form of Wild Illusion? Do you think the winner was a bit of a fluke, Bills and Brook, or I mean, if Wild Illusion does win it, then sort of makes the form a bit more solid, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
The way I looked at that race is I actually thought the winner was running away at the end. But then again, obviously it'd be interesting to see what Wild Illusion, what she actually does. And then would you expect Bills and Brook to maybe run at Ascot, maybe?
Yeah, I would imagine so. And as you say, you know, you'd like to see one more run to see if it was a fluke.
Yeah.
Normally that race is obviously stack full of formed horses, but there's got to be question marks a little bit over the form. Only bearing in mind the rating the Bilston Brook at the time and also what it achieved. I remember, I think I was actually at Salisbury last year, I think. I haven't got a great memory, but I remember being there and backing it, and I'm sure it didn't win at Salisbury. So it was a big step up. I mean, obviously Lawrence has done well. You know, that they'll race in France, I think. That'll tell us more with Bilston Brook. I mean, when you come to classics like the Oaks and the Derby, and we'll come on to the Derby soon, you've got to be aware that, you know, tactically, plans are struck beforehand on how the O'Briens are going to run the race, And I'm always very keen, and we saw with Lancaster Bomber only Sunday, I'm of the view that which one comes in for money sort of a couple of hours before is the one to go for with the owners.
Are you just saying that with Aidan O'Brien, or because I was actually in the office when that race was running? I mean, me and one of the senior traders were actually watching and thinking, is this thing coming back? Because we did think as you say, more fancied winner O'Brien was a bit too far back, and he just got.
But it was double figures in the morning, if I recollect, and certainly 9 to 1 when I looked in the morning or late morning, and it was well backed in. And I've seen it over the years that the owners, I don't know if it's the owners or people get cotton onto it, but the one that's backed is normally, and you've got Bye Bye Baby, Forever Together, and Magic Wand. And there's not much in it price-wise between all 3 of them. Now, I would imagine one of those 3, I know which one I fancy, we'll come on to that in a minute. I would imagine one of those 3 will be heavily backed an hour or 2 before the race.
And that would be a good indication. The jockey booking, would that be a factor with that?
It is normally, and then you would normally associate Ryan Moore with having first choice.
Yeah.
And I look back over that Chester race, and Forever Together, I think, and I've seen it before at Chester, and it's quite controversial what I'm going to say, but I've seen it before where the second or third place horses for Brian, I feel, could have got much closer. And that's very much the case at Chester. You've got Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore came out of stall 1, boom, you know, and he nicked a 3 or 4 length lead at the start and then never came back at him. But
I actually remember the race quite well, and to be honest with you, I actually think that Magic One was still a bit green in front, but then I don't think Dominic O'Brien was very hard on the second. He never got a clear run, but he certainly wasn't hard. I think he was riding for a place. And obviously, I think Ryan was too far close. He didn't want to give the horse, too much of a hard race, Donica. And obviously, because he may have this race in mind, it's only 23 days later, isn't it? 24 days later.
Yeah, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I remember Cliffs and Mohall went in there, and I'm sure it was Cliffs and Mohall. There was one horse that won and could have easily probably got beat. On that, I have come on the side of Forever Together.
Okay.
On the basis, I take what you say. The horse is running green, Magic Wand in front. Don't think there's much pace. Obviously, there will be a pace setter here. There always is.
Shumi Heffernan's a great judge of pace. I mean, he could be or maybe perhaps Wayne Lordwin. But then you don't know, and he might ride a good race. He might not get caught flattering as well. But
if you look at the turns of together, I just thought every time it could have got out, it didn't. And when it did get out, it was running on strongly. I do take the point that, the form of Magic Wand, it looks on the basis, it looks stronger. I don't think the strength of the Bye Bye Baby in beating Jaeger at the Curragh is good enough. One of my concerns though is just obviously from our point of view, if I'm working for Jeff and obviously for the book financially, I mean Aidan O'Brien has won this with an outsider in the last couple of years twice, so we don't really know what's going to happen. And as you know, fillies are quite temperamental. But I mean, obviously, I think what you're saying on Magic Wand, it probably, it's Forever Together. I mean, it could be a potential improver, and obviously, it just depends on the tactics as well, doesn't it, Pete? Yeah, you've got Perfect Clarity in the daughter of Nathaniel.
I'd like that.
That's the sire of her in Able last year, so that will stay. Again, Lingfield form, translating that to the Oaks form, I've never been a lover of comparing the two.
Yeah.
Give and Take is an interesting one. I mean, that's out of a half District of Fame and Glory, that will say. Mussador was obviously a good pointer to the Oaks. I mean, I did see William Haggard say he wouldn't mind the ground. I think he might prefer better ground, but you've got Give and Take in that race too. So it is, James Doyle's actually done very well for William Haggis.
It's wide open, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's quite interesting because you're obviously talking about Give and Take. I mean, rated 97, and obviously he's a live chance to win a Group 1, for these Oaks.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got that form linked with the David Simcock as well.
Yeah.
That's a chance as well. I mean, but I mean, looking at it just now, just on the basic form, you'd think that the O'Brien runners have maybe got the edge, maybe a few lengths on the York form with Give and Take and the David Simcock runner. But I mean, personally, I would like to see Perfect Clarity win because I think it'd be good for Adam Kirby to get a good winner. I think he's a very underrated jockey and trainer. And I think that one at Lingfield wasn't as bad as some people were sort of making out. Couldn't have really done any more. But then again, the ground. I mean, would the ground be a concern for that one if it goes soft?
Possibly. I mean, I think it's a concern for a few of them. To be honest, and it will be very interesting. I mean, as I say, as we speak, if it came up soft heavy, then there is an idea that it might even come up the stand side, which they often do when it gets soft heavy. But we'd like to see how many millimetres of rain, fall at Epsom before that becomes a possibility. But I have seen that before, so it'd be interesting to see if any one of them, comes stand side into the far side. Because if the ground changes, it can be beneficial to come down side, but you wouldn't expect that in the Classic, but it could happen.
Yeah, you don't. Obviously, we're used to seeing that in the sprint races at Epsom. Obviously, but the draw is very important, isn't it?
Yeah. And we'll come on to the draw soon about the Derby, but yeah. So if you were to
having a wager,
lock me in a corner and put a gun to my head, I would go with Forever Together. I think for me, could have run better at Chester. If it there's sort of a length behind, 2 lengths behind Magic Wand, coming with 2 furlongs to go, I think it can catch it. So I'm siding with Forever Together. What price is that roughly?
Well, it's currently, it's actually 6-1 at the moment. Obviously Magic Wand 9-2, 6-1 Bye Bye Baby. So I mean, as you say, one thing that especially with this sort of yard owners is to look out for which one the money comes for. I mean, obviously, if you were on at 6-1 with Forever Together and he goes off 7-2, that would sort of fill you with confidence.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, it's one of those races whereby a lot of people will be betting Saturday morning.
Yeah.
If I could advise one thing, it might be just to wait a couple of hours before. I mean, the race doesn't go off to 4:30. I think you'll know by lunchtime which one of those are favoured by the lads, as I call O'Brien when he talks about the lads. And I think you'll have a good indication of which one the lads like by that lunchtime. And I think that would sway me a little bit. Even though I'm, talking to you now, it's Forever Together is my selection. But if a wave of money came in from Magic Wand, that would make me worry.
Yeah, you'd be concerned. But obviously, my personal selection, I would like to see Perfect Clarity win, because I think it's an improving filly. I do think it's a proper good horse. And obviously, I'd like to see Adam Kirby win a race, but obviously I'll take that on board.
I mean, just very quickly on Admin King, I think will go on any ground. That's in the 345 handicap. I think that'll go well, and I think King Shield in the 515. So I know they're short price favourites, but I do think they'll go well, especially Admin King, who I think is on the upgrade for Roger Varian. So if you wanted me to have the best bet on the day, with Admin King on the Friday.
Yeah, he's currently 7-4 at the moment.
Yeah.
Would you be banging at that price, or do you think he'll go even shorter?
That would be roughly the price. So I think that's a standout for me. I think Admin King in the 345.
Yeah, because I'm also looking at the race just now. I mean, he's won his last three, and certainly looks like an improver. I mean, I'd probably say the danger would probably be another touch. I mean, Richard Fye's coming into a bit of form, isn't he? And that horse won a nice race last time. He's 10-1.
He certainly is, Richard Fye is in tremendous form. He seems to have been having winners left, right, and centre at the moment. And I disagree.
Is there anything else that you fancy on the Thursday, just before we jump on to the?
No, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, to be honest.
So would you be doing a double with that, or is this just putting a single up for?
I mean, it might well be the double, King Shield and Adman King, actually. I mean, I don't back 1 to 3 shots, but Cracksman, for the big players, that will decipher, actually, whether the bookmakers have a good day or bad day, because if Cracksman gets beat, I would imagine that some of the other shorties might drift a little because they'll be a bit more confident, but, it all hinges on Cracksman, and I really can't see Cracksman getting beat, so, hopefully for the punters on Friday, it will be their day.
Yeah, no, listen, I completely agree with you. I think he's so far clear. I think if something miraculous has got to happen for him not to win that race. I mean, potentially he comes at the stalls, he wins, and so basically we have seen a lot of action with him and Saxon Warrior in doubles, 4 figures, multiples, and chucking some other ones in as well. But I mean, jumping on to the big race on Saturday, Derby. What do you fancy here? Yeah, are you against Saxon Warrior? Too short? What do you think?
Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, before there were 2 pointers that you must take in consideration. And I don't care what people say. The draw is significant. I mean, there's some stat that came out today that in double figure field since 2000, in 104 races, not one of them has been won from stall 1. So 104. So, Saxon Warrior, there's no denying it's the class horse in the race, but that will be 105 goes at that since 2000 in 1.5 races, and he'll be the first one to win from stall 1. So you have to take that into consideration. You have to also take into consideration the weather. Now, I know we keep harping on about the weather, but you have to find out what it rides like on the Friday. I think a lot of people will be on it already, like you said. Anti-post markets are fraught with danger, because I don't know what price you were this morning. First thing,
you wouldn't want to know what price we were in February, and we were taking bets. I mean, it's a 5-figure loss for us on the book just now. I mean, we believe in 33, 25, 28. So people knew, as they say that. As you say, you're starting to sound like you're up.
What price are you now?
I think we're 10 to 11. I mean, I think the draw maybe explains why there was a slight drift on the horse.
Yeah, I mean, it was generally 8 to 11, wasn't it? It was generally 8 to 11, 4 to 6, 4 to 5 as you push. And I can see it. I'm going to say this. I think you can go a shade odds against. And I think 11 to 10, 5 to 4, possibly. Because that's another thing that tends to happen anti-post, is you get a lot of interest from outsiders, and there are a couple of big ones actually, which we'll go on to in a moment, that are overpriced, and they sort of get nibbled in, and then more people will then talk about the draw, the go-in, and there's some doubts that sort of linger, and then you'll get a slight drift on Saxon Warrior, and I think it will go off a shade against. Could be totally wrong, but I think 11 to 10, 5 to 4, it will go off And that's still very short for a Derby.
Yeah, of course.
Because you've got so many other horses in there. You've got Roaring Lion, who there are a few that I would actually put a line across, and Roaring Lion will be one of those.
It's the ground, isn't it? It's a bit of a concern, especially if it's soft for me.
Yeah, distance.
It'd be an issue. Yes, I don't think he'll get home on the ground now.
Yeah. Although it is interesting, because John Gosden could have easily put him in the French Derby, which I think is over mile 2, and he's opted for the Derby. Now, he's a very shrewd operator, and I think if it hadn't have won last time out, I think you may have seen it go to the French Derby.
He won very impressively last time at York, but I mean,
it's very impressive.
I think the ground's a bit of a concern. And to be honest with you, I was more impressed with Young Rascal in the way that he's won at Chester. He's very impressive. I thought he was hampered, multiple times, and to quicken the way he did. As you say, that horse could have chucked it, as you say. He's quickened up well. And he's got form linked with the Johnson horse, DXB as well, which I think had every chance, but he could.
Well, that's a big price. I mean, it was. Yep. What price are you DXB?
I'll still the price now. We're counting 25 to 1 at the moment.
Yeah. See, I think that's solid each way, and I think you mentioned about Young Rascal. That to me was a good trial because they came wide, they came late, and William Haggis is one of those trainers whereby he sort of plays down his horses quite a bit. When he's interviewed, he sort of. I do like the other one actually. Who should have gone for the Oaks. Who goes to the French one, the one at Newbury. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, we're sidetracking. But he's been very positive about Young Rascal all the way along, and that gives me the confidence that he expects Young Rascal to run well.
He looks progressive, doesn't he? Definitely looks progressive. I think he's the one out of maybe Hazapor and Roaring Lion. I think he's the one that'll maybe go off 5 to 1, 6 to 1, and I think Saxon Warrior may drift slightly, but as I say,
D'Souza's, sorry to interrupt you, I think D'Souza's a very interesting booking for DXP, considering that. I think that's a positive. Yeah, I think he's very he's underrated in big races. No one can dispute the fact that he wins races every day, but he's in these big classics, he can still be a force to be reckoned with, and I've been impressed actually with DXB, the way it's run on each time. I think it was beaten comfortably by Young Rascal last time, but I wouldn't put it out of the equation as finish in place, that's for sure.
Yeah, as you say, the way that he ran on, do you think he'll be able to maybe look in the ledger after this if he runs a good race, maybe finish in the top 5 potentially? Maybe even closer?
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, another one, I've already put a line through Roaring Lion. I see a big drift for Massar, and this was an also man for me. I was very keen on it before the Guineas. I just can't see staying Massar at all, and I would imagine that will continue to drift. Obviously, they've got Wild Illusion on the Friday, the boys in blue, but I don't think the boys in blue are going to get anywhere with Massar, and I can see there probably might be markets for horses finishing outside sort of first 6 or whatever, and I think that will be one of them.
I'll maybe speak to Jeff, see if we can maybe do something like that, especially.
Yeah.
I think it's certainly going to be run at a frenetic pace. You're talking about the draw bias as well. I mean, that's a very good point because, as you say, a lot of these top jockeys we do say, I've seen an interview with Kieran Fallon yesterday saying that a lot of these races, it's the first furlong, 2 furlongs which decides. You have to get the horse settled, get in the right position, install one. It's a bit like the coffin box in a way. You're trapped, you get trapped from the rail, be a bit far back, but then again, I think
Night to Behold is drawn 2. I can't remember. You might have someone might clarify that, but
no, he is drawn 2. Yeah, and you'd expect him to go forward, wouldn't you? So he's got a little bit of room to manoeuvre.
He will, and that might enable Saxon Warrior to tuck in behind. Night to Behold is another one. Unfortunately, I put a line through, just because I think again, the Linfield form where he beat Kew Gardens was actually quite impressive, but I don't think a horse can pull that hard, do you, Epsom, and get away with it against classy opposition?
Probably not. And the thing is, you've got to remember as well, is he going to handle the track? But then the thing is, I think it's a positive jockey booking, and is he going to get an uncontested lead up front? Probably not, because he's probably going to be in maybe 2 Aidan O'Brien pacemakers in the race. So for me, as you say, sort of, I've chatted to Jeff and a couple of traders in the office about this. We've sort of looked, would you want to be on Saxon Warrior at 4 to 5, or would you like the field at 5 to 4? And personally, I think having the field. I think there's enough variables, enough live chance in the race.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you've got, obviously, we haven't discussed Azenpour. I mean, Frankie Dettori takes the ride there. That was quite impressive, and Dermot Weld obviously knows what to do to win classics.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I just don't think, there are a few in this race that just have to show that much improvement. Some I think can't improve, like Kew Gardens and Massar and Night to Behold, but there's some with potential, and Azenpour is one of them, Young Rascal's another one of them. So they're a bit behind Saxon Warrior at the moment, but that, let's not forget, it's over a new trip. Young Rascal's proved he can stay, but it's over a new trip for Saxon Warrior, so it might just bring these all closer together than what you think, and you'll get the Legion of fans sticking by Saxon Warrior. And to be honest with you, if the ground had been good and it had been drawn 5, 6, 7, 8, I would have thought, well, this is an absolute certainty. But there are enough question marks, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. Azenpour was actually my selection during the weekend. Obviously, I'd heard Frankie Dettori went over and gave it a good review, and obviously the price went, obviously back to 16 to 1. But I was quite impressed with the way they won at Leopardstown. And obviously, I'm not 100% sure how strong the form is, obviously in front of the Pentagon, Platinum Warrior, but then Platinum Warrior came out and won quite impressively the other day, didn't he? So he won quite well.
And there's an improvement there as well. There's definitely improvement. Famous colours and the Delano Roosevelt, another one I don't really. I mean, that's run on actually quite a few times, isn't it? Certainly in Ireland, but I don't think that will have enough class. The Pentagon, again, I mean, he won with an outsider last year, so you can never discount him. But he's got a few there that can potentially front run. And I know it sounds strange, but I think tactically Kew Gardens is not a mile and a half for me. I think that could leave a couple of the other outsiders in the race to start it up, and Kew Gardens is stormed 12, so he's going to have to get a good posse anyway. So I can see horses like that leading, and that they would, as we speak or as people are listening to this, they're conjuring up a plan how to get Saxon Warrior. It didn't quite work from last year because Rings of Eagles came and attached everyone, but they'll be conjuring up a plan on how best, and they want this Saxon Warrior to, and there's no doubt about it, obviously being by Deep Impact.
Yes.
It makes such a difference, for them and not being a Galileo, that they want this as a Derby victory. I mean, in fact, obviously they'll go for all three. They go for the St. Ledger, I would imagine, as well. So, as we talked about the Oaks, that was very open, and we talked about the late money for it. I think with this one, with the Derby, it's Saxon Warrior to lose, and it's tactics. It's not worry about money. The money's already down. We talked about the slight drift, but it's tactically how they instigate a Saxon Warrior victory, and that's what they'll be aiming to do. That's why you can probably disregard all the other O'Brien horses in the race, because they'll play a part in trying to get a victory for Saxon Warrior.
Yeah, see, it's also, I know you quite fancy DXB, and obviously I know a few people who fancy that horse each way. I wouldn't be overly surprised if just maybe a length just sits off Saxon Warrior, because this horse will stay. I wouldn't be surprised if it ran into at least 25 to 1. It seems like a good price.
Savannah Star's another one. I mean, proving on the ground that, it did have a wind up. I remember seeing it at Windsor. I'm sure it was at Windsor, which is absolutely hacked up on soft ground. And I thought, oh, wow. Obviously, it got up on the line at Sandown, and, it wasn't Sakasi that time, and obviously there's an upgrade. But, look, if it was really soft, stroke heavy, that would not be out of the equation either. So,
because I remember that well, because I remember I was in the office, and obviously we took a lot of money for that horse, because it was just after it took the wind off, so obviously people knew, and it absolutely hosed up. So obviously, I do remember it quite well, because it was like an absolute bog that day, and it just never came off the bridle, didn't it? Rad Havden was on.
That's right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, again, with this one, I will probably end up doing Young Rascal and DXB each way. I don't think we have two in the race, but they're the two that I will probably do. Last year, it was very frustrating because I got the winner of the Oaks in Enable, who beat Rhododendron. On Twitter, I put up Wings of Eagles in the evening and didn't do it the next morning. I even posted that I didn't do it. So I've got to stick by my guns this year. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to stick with Young Rascal and DXB. And they're big enough prices as well. I don't know what Young Marcus is now, whether it's 8-9s or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's currently 9-1 with Jeff Banks.
And that's a fair each way price, and DXB as well. And if you take that race, there's not much between them, and I think one of those two will definitely place.
Yeah, no, listen, I completely agree. I mean, I think Young Rascal's certainly a live danger, and I think he'll be ridden. I think he's just going to track Saxon around. I mean, I was impressed with his turn of foot at Chester. I mean, he looks like a proper group horse, doesn't he? And as you say, William Haggis isn't renowned for chucking them in the deep end if they haven't got a live chance.
Absolutely right. And as I say, he's quite bullish as well, which makes a change. He's quite miserable sometimes, in all truth. And he doesn't sort of, big up his horses. So, no.
So would you be just sort of say rounding up this race? Would you be against Saxon Warrior at the prices then? Would you be a backer earlier? Would you think?
If I had loads of money, I'd still back it. I think.
Yeah.
If I was a player and I was a player of thousands, I think I would still back it. I know there's things against it, but that makes it a slightly more interesting race, more a better price, because as I say, I do think, certainly moves from sort of 4 to 6, 8 to 11. Bookmakers will tease you in with offers, and you've got horses in here that will be backed. I'm sure of it on the day. And as you say, I think horses like Roaring Lion might drift. You get a little bit of money for Young Maskell as a poor. Certainly the outsiders, if it's softened, DXB, Savannah Star. So all in all, I still think Saxon Warrior will win, but there are enough question marks to make you think,
Yeah, do you think, one thing we haven't jumped onto, who's going to ride Saxon Warrior? Do you think it'll be Donecker or Ryan? Do you think he'll be on?
Say that again?
Jockey booking, who do you think will be on? Donecker or Ryan?
Oh, I think Ryan and Moore will be on Saxon Warrior.
Okay. Do you think that maybe have an impact on the price as well?
No. I think what will have an impact is the draw and the weather. I think. That would be the interesting point on the Oaks, whether that's a factor. That could be a factor with Magic Wand, but I don't think it's a factor in the Derby.
Yeah, well, we're hoping we can get Saxon Warrior beat, because obviously he's a big loser for us in the anti-post, and obviously we see a lot of money coming for him as well. But it was interesting, there's a couple of traders in the office talking, just sort of having a bit of relevance to Camelot's win 2012, just sort of relating to the price. And obviously, from hindsight, you can see that it wasn't the best crop of Theodores we've ever seen. Probably the worst in quite a long time. And I think the prices are quite close. He won 8-13 that day. If this goes off 4 to 5, maybe 4 to 6, I think there is much more live dangers in this race compared to Camelot. If you look at this Irish Derby, there was nothing in that race, wasn't there? But obviously there is different variables to bring into consideration. But I think there's a lot of question. You've got the draw, and I think there's 2 or 3 live dangers in this race. And I think from Jeff's point of view, from our point of view, I think we've got a chance. Obviously, Cracksman, I think that it looks like a penalty kick, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. I haven't really, obviously, on Saturday, anything else. It's difficult to say at this stage. You've got Dance Beaver and Lincoln Rocks and the Princess Elizabeth, Durham Stakes, you've got True Valour for Johnny Murta, but there's nothing really stand out for me for Saturday, apart from the 2 that I mentioned on the Friday, King Shield and Edgeman King.
Okay. Would you back him? Are you going to put up Young Rascal? Are you going to have to single on that? Are you 2 singles in the race, or what are you thinking about that?
I think we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to get an update on the weather, but my inclination is yes, it will be Young Rascal and DXB. They're the 2. Whether I do each way on both or win on one and then each way on the other, that's the deliberation that I'll make.
Okay. Is there anything else you fancy over the weekend or Epsom? Or?
Well, you've got the Doom Stakes on Saturday. A-Rod, I'm not sure will like the ground. You've got Britain Rocky, who will like the ground but is going to have a run. You've got True Valour, as I mentioned. That could be worth a little bit. Love Dreams won well last time. That's the Doom Stakes on Saturday. Prince Elizabeth Stakes, that's wide open. Lincoln Rocks invariably runs quite well there, so. But they're all quite tentative for me at the moment, these selections, to be honest with you. But they're the ones, I guess. I wouldn't be with, even though A-Rod has won a couple of races, I think he's more the top of the ground horse. And Century's Dream in the Doom Stakes done me a favour at Ascot, but I'm not sure I'll be up to this class. So there's very tricky racing, as always, on a Saturday, because you've got the dash as well. and that is notoriously difficult.
Oh yeah, the draw's massively important in that, isn't it? And obviously,
it is,
you want to be drawn near the stand side, because if you're anywhere near, the risk complex can change so much final furlong, but you certainly want to be handy. You don't want to be anywhere near the back of the field.
Yeah, no, and no, that's right. So yeah, I mean, just to go through it, I mean, you've got Friday, Cracksman Certainty, Adjman King in the Wealth and Investment Handicap. I like that one, and Saturday. For the Oaks, it's got to be. I've always get careful here. Forever Together, because we also had a horse called Together Forever as well. So Forever Together, and in the Derby, it's got to be Young Rascal and DXB for me. Whether I go Young Rascal win, we'll see.
That could be a nice fourfold treble. Anyway,
it could be.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, Pete, it's been great. It's been great catching up with you, just getting some insight, and obviously keep going with the Twitter. I mean, it's great. It's great. I'm glad you're doing well. But all the best, okay, Peter?
Okay, all the best. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Peter. Bye. Hi, everyone. For a limited time only, Jeff Banks is offering new clients up to £100 in real money. Register using promo code REG53 and Jeff Banks will award £10 in real money for every £100 of settled wagers. And this can be repeated up to 10 times for a total of £100 bonus in real money. See our website. Terms and conditions apply. Full details. www.jeffbanks.com/reg53. And with Royal Ascot just around the corner, there's never been a better time to open an account with Jeff Banks. Thanks everyone for listening to the Jeff Banks podcast, and a big shout out to Peter Finch for his insight and excellent contribution. If you aren't already following Peter Finch, I would advise you do. You can find him at Racing Pete on Twitter, which he normally puts up videos and insight every day. Anyway, have a great weekend everyone, and stay tuned for further previews and podcasts. Over and out.